Bansir was the best chariot builder in Babylon. In the richest city on earth, a man had paid him to build a chariot, and Bansir spent that entire morning sitting on it, not working on it, sitting on it. He was staring at a leather purse. It was empty, not low, empty.
The best builder in the richest city, broke.
His friend Kobe came looking for him. Kobe was a musician, the finest in Babylon. He'd come to borrow 2 shekels.
Neither of them had 2 shekels. Two masters of their craft at the top of their professions, in a city so wealthy it had walls 100 feet high, and between them they could not produce 2 coins.
Okay, but that's just bad luck, right? Bad clients, bad timing.
That's exactly what they thought, until Bansir said something out loud that he'd been thinking for years.
He said, "We went to school with Arkad. We learned the same things from the same teachers. And in the games, Arkad did not surpass us."
And now Arkad is the richest man in Babylon. Same start, same city, same schoolroom. One of them ends up rich enough that the king asks him for advice, and the other two are sitting on an unfinished chariot with nothing.
So what did he do that they didn't?
They went and asked him, and he told them. That conversation is this whole book. Arkad had started as a scribe. He carved letters into clay tablets all day for almost nothing.
One day, a moneylender named Algamish came in and needed a tablet copied by the next morning, urgently.
Arkad made him an offer. He said, "I will carve all night, and when it's done at dawn, you tell me the secret of how a man becomes wealthy."
He traded a night of sleep for one sentence.
He did, and Algamish came back at dawn and gave him the sentence. I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep.
That's it? That's the secret. Keep some of your money?
Arkad said the same thing, and Algamish asked him a question back.
He said, "When you pay the sandal maker, do you not keep part of what you earn?" Arkad said no. Every coin came in and went straight out, to the tailor, to the sandal maker, to food, to the things a man needs.
Algamish told him everything you paid to someone else. You work for everyone but yourself.
So Arkad started keeping 1 coin in 10, and within a year he had saved something real. Then he did what almost everyone does with their first savings.
He spent it.
Worse, he invested it.
A brickmaker named Asmur was sailing to Tyre. He told Arkad he'd buy jewels from the Phoenicians, and they'd split the profit. Arkad gave him everything.
Asmur came back with glass, colored glass. The Phoenicians had sold a brickmaker fake jewels.
Why would you ask a brickmaker about jewels?
That's the lesson, and Arkad says it plainly. He took advice about jewels from a man who knew bricks.
Ask a brickmaker about bricks. Ask a jeweler about jewels.
The second time, Arkad lent his savings to Agar the shield maker, who bought bronze with it and paid interest every 4 months. And Arkad started doing something with that interest instead of spending it.
Let me guess. He lent that out too.
He called them the children of his gold. And their children. That's the whole engine.
Arkad ended up giving the king's students 7 rules. The book calls them the 7 cures for a lean purse. The first one is the one everybody has heard and almost nobody does.
For every 10 coins you place in your purse, take out for use but 9.
10%. Everyone says that.
Everyone says it. Arkad's version has a detail people skip. He says your purse will start to fatten, and its weight will feel good in your hand, and your soul will be satisfied by it.
He's not describing a spreadsheet. He's describing a feeling you have to actually experience before the habit sticks. And there's the part that stops the usual objection. Arkad tested it. After keeping 1 coin in 10, he did not suffer for it. He lived no worse than before.
That can't be right. 10% less is 10% less.
Which brings us to the second cure. And this is the sentence I'd carve on a wall.
What each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our incomes unless we protest to the contrary.
Read that again. Necessary expenses grow to match whatever you make, automatically, unless you fight it.
So the raise never helps.
The raise never helps by itself. The amount you call necessary just expands to swallow it. Arkad's answer is to write down what you actually spend and then be honest that 90% of it is desire wearing the costume of necessity.
Budget the 9 coins, not the 10.
If that one sentence just explained the last 5 years of your life, subscribe. We do one of these every week.
Third cure, make thy gold multiply. Saving sitting still is a man carrying a stone. It has to earn. Arkad puts it as a stream. Each coin you save is a worker, and the coins those workers bring back are workers too.
And the fourth one is where I lose all my money, isn't it?
Guard thy treasures from loss, and Arkad's rule for it is uncomfortable because it kills the exciting option every time.
The first principle of investment is security of the principal. Before you ask what you might gain, ask whether you can lose it.
And then the line that would have saved him the glass jewels: consult with wise men, secure the advice of those experienced in the profitable handling of gold.
So not the guy in the group chat.
Not the guy in the group chat.
Fifth, make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. In Babylon, rent went out and never came back. Owning turned a cost into an asset.
The point underneath it survives the 4,000 years. Money that leaves forever is different from money that becomes something you hold. Sixth, ensure a future income. Arkad is talking about old age and about your family if you're gone. Money set aside now for a version of you that can't work,
Nobody wants to think about that one.
which is exactly why he made it a rule instead of a suggestion.
And the seventh is the one people are always surprised by, because it isn't about money at all.
Increase thy ability to earn.
Arkad says desire must be strong and definite, and it must be for one specific thing, not I want to be rich. He says, cultivate thy own powers, study, and become wiser, become more skillful, act so as to respect thyself.
So the last money rule is get better at your job.
The last money rule is get better at your job, which is exactly what Arkad decided to test on his own son. Arkad had a son named Nomasir, and when Nomasir came of age, Arkad did something strange. He gave him a bag of gold and a clay tablet.
The gold was the inheritance. The tablet had 5 sentences carved into it, the 5 laws of gold, and Arkad told him, go to Nineveh and come back in 10 years. If you can prove you're capable of handling this, you'll inherit everything.
And if he can't,
Then it goes to the priests. So Nomasir left, and in Nineveh he met a man with white horses who told him about a race that could not be lost.
It could be lost, it was fixed.
Then he met a young man who offered him a partnership in a shop. Nomasir put in the money, the young man ran the business, and the business collapsed.
he lost the entire inheritance.
All of it. He sold his good clothes to eat. He slept among the city walls with men who had nothing.
And that's when he did what he should have done on day one. He actually read the tablet.
Law 4. Gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses he does not understand. Law 5. Gold flees the man who forces it into impossible earnings or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters.
He'd broken exactly the 2 that described what he just did.
He got work, he saved, he lent carefully. He came back to Babylon 10 years later with 3 bags of gold for everyone his father had given him.
And the first thing he handed back was the tablet.
There's a chapter in this book where the men of Babylon sit in the temple of learning and argue about one question: can you attract luck?
You can't. That's what luck means.
That's what they thought too, until a trader told them what happened to him when he was young.
A shepherd was outside the city gates at nightfall with a flock of sheep. The gates were shut. He was tired, he needed money, and he offered the whole flock at a price far below what it was worth.
The trader's father told him to buy them. The trader said he'd sleep on it and decide in the morning.
Oh no!
By morning, another merchant had bought the entire flock at that low price and resold it the same day for a great deal more.
The luck wasn't the sheep were there for both of them. The luck was in the man who moved that night.
And that's the conclusion the room reached. Good luck waits on the man who accepts opportunity.
Procrastination isn't a personality trait in this book. It's the thing that stands between you and every good deal you'll ever be offered.
Dabasir was a saddle maker in Babylon. He married, he bought things he couldn't afford, he borrowed to cover the borrowing.
When the debts came due, he couldn't pay. He ran, and a man who runs from Babylon in those days ends up in one place, captured and sold as a slave in Syria.
From saddlemaker to slave, because of debt.
His master's wife was named Sirah, and she asked him a question that changes the whole book.
She asked, "Are you a free man's soul or a slave's soul?" "If you have the soul of a free man," she told him, "you will return to your city and pay every man you owe. If you have the soul of a slave, you will whine that it wasn't your fault." Then she gave him food, water, and a route across the desert.
Dabasir crossed it. He came back to Babylon, and he went to every single creditor and told them he would pay, not could, would.
Did he?
Every one. And the way he did it is written on the clay tablets he left behind. Dabasir split every coin he earned into 3 parts, 70% to live on, 20% to his creditors, divided among all of them, no matter how small the payment. 10% kept for himself.
Even while in debt, he kept the 10%?
Especially while in debt, because the version of him that pays everyone and keeps nothing is the version that ends up back in Syria.
And some creditors mocked him for the size of the payments. He kept paying anyway. The ones who mocked him got paid too.
So Bansir and Kabi, sitting on that unfinished chariot, what they were missing was never talent. They were the best in Babylon at what they did.
They had simply never kept a single coin of what they earned.
There's one more man in this book, and he's the one I'd want you to remember. Sharunada was a merchant prince of Babylon. He was traveling with a young man named Hadan Gula, the grandson of his old business partner.
Hadan Gula wore jeweled rings, and he was very clear about his ambitions. He said he'd rather spend money than earn it. He didn't want to be a trader like his grandfather. He wanted to live like a rich man.
The heir who wants the result without the thing that made it.
So Sharunada told him something the family had never told him. He said, "When I was young, I was a slave. I was brought to Babylon in chains and sold. I was bought by a baker, and I worked in his shop making honey cakes, and I sold them in the streets. And with what I earned on the side, I bought my own freedom."
And then he told him the part that lands.
Your grandfather, Arkad Gula, he was a slave beside me. We were sold in the same city.
The grandson had no idea.
None. He'd spent his whole life assuming the money had always been there.
And Sharunada's conclusion is the sentence the book ends on. He says, "Work is the best friend a man ever had. It brought him his freedom. It brought Arkad Gula his fortune. And it's the only thing that ever moved either of them an inch."
Sirah asked Dabasir if he had the soul of a free man or the soul of a slave. Sharunada is the answer to that question, told 50 years later.
So Bansir and Kabi, sitting on that unfinished chariot, what they were missing was never talent. They were the best in Babylon at what they did.
They had simply never kept a single coin of what they earned.
A part of all you earn is yours to keep. 10%, starting with the next thing you get paid before anything else moves. That's the chapter. See you in the next one.